What's up everybody, hope you have an amazing day so far. My name is Phil and today's video we're going to check out the ENGL Ravager IR. If you are a regular viewer to the channel, then first off, huge thank you for your ongoing support. And secondly, you will notice that we are in a completely different environment than I usually do my videos. And that's an active and conscious choice. I'm currently on vacation at our trailer here at the Dutch coastline. And I thought to myself that this vacation would be the perfect opportunity to take the ENGL Ravager IR with me and showcase it as kind of a travel amplifier, which you can take with you when you're on vacation, when you are in the backstage area of a concert you're playing. So just take that on your trailer bus and whatnot else. So this is the perfect unit when it comes to not wanting to sacrifice on the tube amp tone which you're getting, but still have modern features with it so that you can simply play it on its own without any need of a cabinet or something. You just plug in your headphones in there and then you're good to go. But we're going to explore that in a moment. Let's first check out how this amplifier sounds in a full mix. Before we move forward with the video, of course, I want to make you aware of the fact that we're not going to have the absolute ultimate pristine signal chain when it comes to especially the voice microphone. I'm just using this DJI Mic 3 which I got attached over here, and the ENGL Ravager IR is going through the Tonix One Plus as an interface, so nothing is activated on the Tonix One Plus, and that's then going into my PC setup over here which I got set up with Reaper opened, and in the aftermath I'm going to synchronize audio and video. So please bear with me if there are any inconsistencies. It is just due to the nature of how I'm recording this video over here. And secondly, I want to let you know that ENGL actually has borrowed me this unit, so I'm not being paid. I'm not allowed to keep the amplifier, at least from what I'm aware of as of now. So this will go back to ENGL as soon as I have done the demo. I'm not getting paid, so there's no real incentive for me to actually hype it or sell you anything on this amplifier, which you cannot do. It has a few shortcomings, which we're going to talk about, but overall, I think this is a really cool addition. So with that out of the way, let's get into the feature sets and all of the controls which this amplifier offers. So now that you heard the ENGL Ravager IR in its full glory in a full mix, you are rest assured that this is a heavy metal beast. Now let's talk a little bit about the amplifier itself, because it has a few quirks which are really cool, which are coming very in handy in this particular situation which I'm in. This over here is a 2-channel lunchbox amplifier, has 2 different channels, clean and lead channel, has a shared EQ section, however, very versatile. You can dial in a lot of different tones, and it comes with some special additions to it. The main addition of the Ravager IR, as the name implies, is that you can load impulse responses into this amplifier, and not only that, it also comes with an integrated power soak design so that you can actually run this without any sort of speaker cabinet. That's exactly the setup which I got now running. We're going to talk about the signal chain in a moment. What else do we have? We have an FX send return loop, so that way we can actually hook up a pedal board if we would like to, and we also get a line output which does not feed out the impulse response altered sound, so that way you can actually slave that into a different power amplifier in case the, I think it's 20 watts or 25 watts, I'm not quite sure, they do not suffice. Then you can use a different power amp, slave that through, and then you're good to go. So very, very versatile setup which we get over here. You can cover about any type of scenario which I could personally think of, and the tones, they speak for themselves, because they sound out of the box already so good that I personally would deem, you know, this being capable of playing whatever style you're playing, as long as you're not going into the very extremes. So if you're playing like classic twangy country, this is not the right amplifier for you. Same with ultra genty stuff, but anything in between, you're gonna be perfectly served by this amplifier, and it sounds incredible. Let's talk about the controls. As we can see over here on my smartphone, we have here 2 different gain settings, one for the clean, one for the lead channel. Then we got a shared EQ band, which covers the bass, middle, and treble frequencies. We got this small switch over here. Hang on. Okay. That changes from clean, which is blue, to the lead, which is red. So there we go. We can basically flick that. Got to be a little bit careful that you're not altering the treble with that. And then we have volume knobs, which are just plain simple volumes. And then in the end, we got the master. Now, cranking up the master does something to the sound. We're going to explore that in a moment. Let's go to the clean sound over here. I got everything set up for a fairly run-of-the-mill clean tone, which is a little bit more on the crunchier side. You can clean that up a little bit more by dialing down the gain. Although then it really thins out, but what is really cool about this is you can actually get into hard rock territory by actually substantially cranking up the gain. So that in itself is already really cool. Let me quickly show you how the master reacts as soon as I substantially crank that up. So you're already hearing that the master is, you know, like punching in quite nicely. If I go down very low, then we get this. Now, at that point, when you are on the lead channel, you're already getting feedback. So anything above noon on the lead channel with the master will give you horrendous feedback. So I personally like to leave it on this particular value over here. That's the sweet spot when it comes to the master setup. And you can also hear that when I go above noon, that there's a lot of saturation added. For the clean channel, that's actually a cool thing. It does sound very cool, very lively, very good. But as soon as I go below 10 o'clock, I would say, or 4 out of 10, I personally feel that it loses a lot of characteristics. So you do have to crank that master up and then set up the power soak so that it fits volume-wise in your particular scenario. In this case, I got the speaker turned off, so I'm kind of freed of that one. I just have to make sure that my interface can handle the input. Okay, now that's on the clean. Let's go actually back to that more classic clean tone. I got a few effects over here which I'm turning on, so a modulation, a delay, and a reverb. These are standard stuff which comes in Reaper, so they're not going to sound that great altogether. But this is just kind of proof of concept to show you that you can use effects after the amplifier and it kind of gets you where you want it to be. So that would be something which you would place in the effects loop instead. Let's move over to the actual, let's say, bread and butter of this amplifier, which is the high gain, and then we're going to get more into what the controls actually do EQ-wise. So I personally got this kind of, let's say, sweet spot sound dialed in. That's how I personally would set up this amplifier. I'm going to engage the gate in Reaper because there's a little bit noise going on due to the signal chain of this setup. And yeah, this is what we get. Now that sounds absolutely wicked. Now, one thing about the ENGL Ravager IR, which is a little bit unfortunate, is that when you have loaded up your impulse responses to this amplifier, there's no indicator which impulse response is on which particular slot. I don't know if it's alphabetically ordered or if that's following any other rule, you know, like which one is the one with the first date. I don't know how the file management works on this one, so I'm just going to flick through the different impulse responses. Let's play a riff first. Personally like that impulse response the most, so we're going to leave that there. I do believe it is the York Audio Mesa 4x12, but I'm not sure about that one, so please take that with a grain of salt. That is something where ENGL could be a little bit more clearer. Maybe I missed something in the manual, I'm not sure. Maybe that's on me. However, yeah, I mean, you can already hear how drastically different it sounds depending on the impulse response. And that's also one of the main learnings over here. Of course, as everybody's saying on YouTube, the cabinet is making a huge difference. Now, let's check out the controls of the amplifier. So as I said before, we got the gain and then we got the 3-band EQ. I'm first going to play a little bit around with the gain. What I really like is that the clean gain and the lead gain are kind of going hand in hand. So if you want to be a little bit more on the rockier, fattier side, you would crank the clean gain. If you want to be a little bit more on that drier, thinner sound, but still having lesser gain, then you go to the lead sound and you just set up the gain lower on that particular channel. My personal sweet spot is somewhere around that ballpark over here, where we're between 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock. That's where I personally like to set it up. If I would do some recordings where tightness is kind of the main thing, then I would go even a little bit lower. Maybe here where we got 10 o'clock. Yeah, that sounds really, really, really good. I like that. So let's leave the gain over here a little bit more on 11 out of 10 and play around with the EQs. I'm gonna dial all the EQs first to noon so we can hear what that sounds like. You can already hear it's a little bit honky and a little bit too dark for my personal taste. Let's play around with the bass knob. It quickly gets into that territory where it is pumping up more of that very low mids, which bring all of the muddiness in there. So I like to keep it somewhat contained somewhere around that ballpark. Let's go with the mids. So the mids bring in kind of the juice of all together. However, you also have to make sure that you're not cranking that too much, in my personal opinion. If you want to go for a more classic hard rock sound, then of course go for it. Crank up those mids. However, I personally think that they are best when they are a little bit below noon. That's my sweet spot. Let's go ahead with the treble. All right, now the treble kind of opens up the amplifier, of course, obviously. So the EQ controls work very well hand in hand. They're separated well, but they kind of still grab into each other, which is very nice. And yeah, you can really sculpt your tone. As you heard before, I can now go full blast, old school thrash with that super mid scoop over here. Or I can go full boxiness. I can go super harsh and super dark. Yeah, Yeah, but these EQ settings are always where I kind of land on. Choosing the right IR is still, of course, crucial, and pairing this with the right cabinet will also make a huge difference in how the tone is kind of unfolding itself. So I'm super happy with the sounds which I'm getting over here. And I'm now also going to segue into a different portion of the video where I'm checking out the ENGL Ravager IR in a rehearsal situation so that you kind of get the idea if this can actually hang around with a real drummer. But before that, I'm just going to riff a little bit around and we're going to segue into that different segment. All right, so I'm now on my way to the rehearsal room and I got this bad boy over here, the ENGL Ravager IR, and I'm very excited to check it out together with you guys, see how it fares in a rehearsal situation together with Gabo, who is our heavy-hitting heavy metal drummer. I'm super excited. So what's my personal verdict on the ENGL Ravager IR? I have to say, I'm currently not really in the market for yet another amplifier in my collection. However, I am actually quite sad that I'm not allowed to keep this one and have to send this back to ENGL, because this is an absolute fantastic amplifier. It does what I personally expected from it when I first saw all the advertising online, when I did the test at the Guitar Summit last year. It does the job super well. It unfortunately does not really hang around with a full-fledged metal drummer, in my personal opinion. You would have to have some sort of a slaving mechanism into a different power amplifier to fully get to compete against a full blasting metal drummer. However, I have to say, if you are just using this on the stage for monitoring purposes and you don't need it super loud so that it really competes against the drummer, but just simply loud enough to mic it up at a venue, you're absolutely golden with this amplifier. This can really handle this well. So this is actually not only a bedroom solution like I'm using it right now, but this is actually also a full-fledged gigging solution. I'm gonna leave links down below where you can find more information about the ENGL Ravager IR. If you actually want to have that ENGL sound on a budget, then this might be actually the ticket for that one. I'm gonna wrap up this video over here. I got a lot of stuff to pack in over here. If you like what you've seen, then please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, Leave a comment down below what you think about this amplifier. Have you tried it out? What is your favorite ENGL amplifier? Let's just have a little bit of a chat. I love, you know, nerding around on the forums and in the comment sections with you people out there. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Until then, keep it metal.